before we get to another Friday game, Michigan State against Georgia. If you want to go to the website, jimfice.com, you can just click on that basketball in the lower left. That is a link to the website. Plus, if you want to subscribe to Jim Fice's YouTube page, it's called Sports Betting. Just click on the link above us. It's free, and you get updates each day about free picks as well as the newest Proline episodes. Okay, we have Michigan State playing Georgia on Friday. Michigan State opened 5-point favorite, has moved to 5.5, and the total too has come down from 128.5 to 126. The game will be played in Charlotte, North Carolina. And let's see, you got a well-coached Michigan State team. In fact, really, there's three things that you can kind of count on with Michigan State. They're well-coached, they play tough defense, and they're a great rebounding team historically. And that's been the case this season. Started off a little slow, but they're playing pretty good ball down the stretch. The 36th in the nation in rebounding, they're 32nd in shooting, and they're 4th in the country in assists for Tom Izzo. I mean, 20 years at the helm, 6 Final Fours. They know how to win this time of year. Front court is very good with Dawson and Costello, and the backcourt has been great, leading the team in scoring with Valentine and Trice with balanced scoring. So, Jeff, Michigan State has been on a nice Big Ten run in tournament play. It's a kind of a tough team to match up against with their physical and defensive play in March.
Yeah, and that they should have. They had a terrible bad beat. Anybody who bet Michigan State on Sunday had a terrible bad beat when they were getting 7.5 points and lost in overtime by 11. Just one of those things. I've had a lot of those. That's happened to me several times, but I didn't have that game. But I'm glad I didn't have Michigan State there because it would have been a terrible beat. But other than that, they'd won 4 in a row before that, and they're playing the best basketball of the season. Georgia played Arkansas last Saturday, one of the worst games you ever want to see. It's just I know they'd played the night before, and they were probably tired, but there's no excuse for what we saw in that game. Georgia shot 32.7% from the field. They missed 10 free throws out of 23, and this is a team that gets to the free throw line a lot. So Georgia would have to play better than they did then. Kenny Gaines didn't play in that game, but he should play in this game. Marcus Thornton's Georgia's leading scorer, 12.3 points per game. And also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Spartans. Those 4 games that they won, they beat Purdue, Indiana, Ohio State, and Maryland. So they were playing as well as possible. They just got a bad break in that Wisconsin game in overtime. They're 18-16 overall against the spread this season. One concern here for Michigan State: 0-4-1 against the spread the last 5 NCAA tournament games. But based on what I've seen the last couple of weeks and what I saw of Georgia in that game against Arkansas, I'm going to take Michigan State in this game. Georgia also has been inconsistent during the season. They lost to, I think, South Carolina and Auburn at home. No excuse for that. So when you get the NCAA tournament, you can't afford to have those kind of games. So I'll take Michigan State in this matchup, John.
All right, Georgia is covering games of 5-2 spread runs, 21 wins on the year, but they have battled some injuries this season. Kenny Gaines didn't play that last game, as you mentioned. He has a sprained ankle, so watch out for his situation on Friday. It's also a team, this Bulldog team, they really haven't stepped up in competition that well during the year. Early on, they played Gonzaga. They lost by 12 points, giving up 88 points. Lost to Arkansas twice by 4 and 11 points. So, Zach, I look at a team like Georgia, and I wonder, are they just too banged up to be anything but one and done?
This will be a good game, actually. I think the point spread is a little too high for maybe it's the Izzo factor or whatnot, but 5.5 is probably too high. I would have to side with Georgia from a point spread standpoint. Well, Michigan State, they've got some key guys in there. But Georgia, it should match up well with them. I think with Michigan State, what you're seeing here, you see a team that really doesn't play 2 solid halves. They play good stretches, and they either come back and win or they blow games. So against Ohio State, they had a huge lead. They let the Ohio State come back, only won by a couple points. Same thing this year against Iowa, down big, came back and won. Against Maryland, down big, came back and won. And that worries me if you're going to take 5.5 points with a team like Michigan State with their unbalance on defense and offense. It just seems like it's not there for a full 40 minutes. Georgia, even though they're in the SEC and they played some horrific games, when they're ready to play, they can play with any team in college basketball. And that's what I've seen from that. So I'll take the value here with the 5.5, which I think should be closer to 3.5 on this game.
Okay, good. I'm going to take a look at the total because I love Izzo and his defense. Michigan State steps up this time of year to play grueling physical defense, and that can result in a slower pace. In tournament games, Michigan State is on a 6-2 run under the total. And then Georgia, I wonder about the health of Gaines. If he's not 100%, that leans on your depth, which is a concern. And then coaches, when their depth is pressed like that, might not want to run. And meanwhile, this Georgia team 6-1 under the total when they face the Big Ten, and also in non-conference games, the Bulldogs are 4-1 under the total. So I see this one as a slow-paced, all-out defensive game. I'll take Georgia and Michigan State under the total.